If your life feels stuck, heavy, or like you're always one step behind, there's a reason. And it's not bad luck, not your past, not even other people. It's because there are principles you're not applying yet, habits you're not doing, mindset shifts you haven't made. This isn't about motivation. This is about structure, about finally doing what works. In this video, you'll hear everything you need to get ahead in life, not in theory, but in practical truths that have built strong men, clear minds, and powerful results. The problem isn't that you're weak or lazy. It's that you've been trained to wait for the right mood, the right moment, the right approval. That ends today, because what moves your life forward is not hype, but action. Not being loud, but being consistent. And not just knowing what to do, but doing it when no one's watching. Each part of this video is meant to be listened to more than once. These lessons aren't fast food. They're the kind of mental nutrition you need daily. So come back to it. Let it train your discipline, your decisions, your focus. And if it hits home, share it with someone you care about. Let them hear the truth too. If you find yourself nodding or catching yourself saying, "I needed this," don't keep that to yourself. Comment below, subscribe to the channel, and help us build a community of people who take life seriously and act like it. Let's get into it. 1. Stop blaming. Start owning. There comes a moment, quiet, unglamorous, and deeply personal, when you realize that no matter how much you blame others, your life isn't going to move forward until you stop. You might sit in your car after a long day, staring at the dashboard, wondering why everything feels heavier than it should. Maybe you've told yourself, "My boss just doesn't appreciate me," or "My parents never gave me a fair shot," or "The system is built against people like me." And maybe there's some truth in that. Maybe your circumstances haven't been fair, but fairness doesn't change outcomes. Ownership does. Blame is comfortable. It makes us feel justified. It tells us we're not the problem. It soothes the ego when life doesn't look the way we imagined. But over time, blame becomes a habit that steals our momentum. You can't control what your parents gave you, or what someone said last week, or even the economy. But you can control how you respond. You can train your mind to shift from excuse to execution, from story to strategy. The moment you say, "This is where I am, and it's my job to move from here," you take back a power you may have forgotten you had. That shift isn't glamorous. No one claps for it. But it's the first crack in the wall that's kept you stuck. It's not about ignoring real obstacles. It's about refusing to let them be the end of the story. You might have been hurt, overlooked, underestimated, but now what? Will you let those events define every next decision? Or will you use them as fuel to build self-discipline habits that move your life forward? Getting ahead in life doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires personal clarity. And clarity doesn't begin with blaming others. It begins by asking better questions. What patterns have I allowed to repeat? What have I been avoiding? Where have I handed away responsibility without realizing it? These questions aren't easy, but they lead to growth. They bring your focus inward, not in a selfish way, but in a powerful way. Because long-term peace over pleasure starts with truth. And truth requires courage. Blame is reactive. It leaves you waiting. Ownership is proactive. It puts your hands back on the wheel. People often say, "I'm not where I want to be," and then immediately point outward. But what if, instead, you said, "I'm not where I want to be because I haven't been who I need to be"? That's not shame. That's strength. That's the kind of mental discipline that builds confidence, even in silence. When you stop blaming, you stop leaking energy. You stop rehearsing the same story. You start building quiet discipline, rooted in action, not noise. You build the mindset needed to get ahead in life, because now your direction is internal, not conditional. Blame thrives in comparison. Ownership thrives in action. Blame feeds procrastination. Ownership fuels momentum. If you want to build mental strength and take control of your life, the first habit you need isn't waking up early or journaling or listening to another podcast. It's this. When things go wrong, ask, "What part of this can I own?" Even just 1%. That's the habit that separates those who talk about success from those who live it. It's how self-trust begins. One moment of courage, one honest answer, one quiet adjustment, over and over again. It's tempting to wait until everything feels aligned, to say, "I'll take responsibility once I have more energy, more clarity, more time. But the truth is, ownership creates clarity. Responsibility builds energy. When you start showing up for yourself, life starts showing up differently. People notice when you stop complaining and start executing. Not because you said anything, but because your presence shifts. You move differently. You speak with less blame and more intent. You don't need to control the world anymore because you're finally controlling your responses. This is where the real power begins. Not in big declarations, not in loud ambition, but in the quiet decision to stop waiting for someone else to fix what only you can face. And that decision, it can be made today, right now. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need the past to be rewritten. You just need to say, I'm done giving my power away. Listen to this again tomorrow. Let it sink in. Reflect on where blame still hides in your language, in your habits, in your story. Then practice taking it back. Not all at once, but one choice at a time. And if it helps you, share it. Let someone else in your life hear these words. Because the moment you take ownership of your direction, you don't just get ahead in life. You start leading it. 2. Do the work no one sees. The strongest buildings don't last because of their paint or decorations. They last because of the foundation buried beneath the surface. The same is true for people. The life you admire, the strength you notice in someone's calm presence, or the clarity in how they carry themselves, it's not built by chance or gifted by talent. It's built in silence, in repetition, in the invisible hours no one ever sees. The truth is, what moves you ahead in life isn't what you do when people are watching. It's what you do when they're not. And that's where most people fall behind. They wait for applause. They wait for external validation before they push forward. But the work that actually changes you never gets a standing ovation. It's the early morning when you get up, even though you don't feel like it. It's the quiet commitment to read, write, plan, train, or reflect, even when no one is checking. Especially then. In a world obsessed with visibility, quiet discipline feels invisible. But it's not. It's just foundational. It's like strengthening a muscle others don't know exists. While most people chase short-term rewards or public recognition, the ones who actually grow are the ones who can keep showing up in silence. That's the core of self-discipline habits. They're not about mood, they're about identity. You don't go to the gym only when you feel pumped. You go because it's who you are. You don't plan your week only when life feels chaotic. You do it because success is built on structure, not just effort, and that structure is forged when no one is watching. If you want to take control of your life, start tracking your invisible hours. Look at how you spend your time when there's no pressure to perform. What do you reach for? What do you avoid? Do you scroll endlessly, chase distractions, and delay important work with clever rationalizations? Or do you sit in the stillness and do what matters, even when it feels boring? The answer to that question tells you more about your future than any goal written in a journal. Because the future isn't built by big dreams. It's built by consistent, almost unnoticeable choices that compound over time. The people who stay consistent for success don't have more time than you. They just protect it better. They don't chase motivation. They chase results. And they know the results come from the work no one claps for. The work no one sees is where you build self-trust. It's where you tell yourself, I'll do this, and then you do. That loop, promise made, promise kept, is how personal growth begins. It builds mental strength you can't fake. Because when things get hard, when no one's cheering you on, when you feel overlooked, you'll still move forward. Not because of external hype, but because you've trained your inner standard. And that standard? That's your edge. Quiet, unshakable, real. Most people want a better life, but they're unwilling to do the boring work that actually builds it. They want to feel inspired. They want results to feel exciting, but excitement fades. Routine remains, and routine is what rewires your brain. It creates new patterns. It resets your focus. It makes you dependent on yourself. And that's the part people forget. Your relationship with yourself is shaped by how often you follow through when no one is looking. When you don't need to, but do. When no one's watching, but you still act like it matters. That's not just effort, that's character. Think about the people you admire, not for their success, but for their steadiness, their quiet confidence, their ability to move with calm under pressure. That didn't come from talent. That came from showing up again and again when it was inconvenient, uncomfortable, and unnoticed. And you can build that too. Not by being perfect, but by being faithful to your process. You read when it's quiet. You plan your day when others are still asleep. You say no to noise so you can focus on what builds. And slowly, without fanfare, you change. You become solid. So don't look for shortcuts. Don't wait for someone to tell you you're doing great. If you're doing the work no one sees, you're already ahead of most. Because most people will never know what it means to lead themselves in silence. They only know how to perform. But performance without substance crumbles. What lasts is what's built beneath. And that's what you're building, layer by layer, hour by hour. Come back to this video when you feel like no one notices your effort. Listen again when you want to give up because it feels too quiet. Remind yourself, this is where strength is built. Share this with someone who needs to hear that their invisible effort is not in vain. And keep going. Do the work no one sees until the results are too clear to ignore. 3. Cut the lazy talk and move your life forward. There's always that one person who talks like they're on the edge of greatness. Maybe it's a friend who's always about to launch something big, or someone at work who says they're planning to get serious soon. I had a friend like that. Sharp mind, huge ideas. For 3 years, every conversation ended with some version of, "I'm just getting my mindset right." But nothing changed. No action. Just theory. Just talk. And that's when I realized something important. People don't fail because they lack dreams. They fail because they never move. Lazy talk is dangerous because it sounds intelligent, it sounds strategic, it gives you the illusion of progress without the discomfort of movement. But when the weeks roll into months and the months into years, that kind of talk becomes a slow, quiet trap. Lazy talk is the enemy of consistency. It's a subtle, smooth voice that says, "You'll get to it later," or "You're just not ready yet." But readiness is built through action, not waiting. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're building the habit of delay. You're practicing hesitation, and eventually you become skilled at staying stuck. The truth is, most people already know what they need to do. They're just not doing it. They say they want to get ahead in life, but their days don't reflect it. They say they want to build mental strength, but they choose comfort over challenge. And no one's calling them out, because lazy talk often hides behind words that sound responsible. "I need more clarity," or "I'm still researching," or "timing isn't right." But those are just polished excuses. The cost of lazy talk isn't always visible right away. It shows up in the form of guilt you carry silently, the regret that hits you at midnight, the missed opportunities that slip by while you're still thinking about getting started. It damages your ability to trust yourself. When you constantly delay action, you subconsciously teach yourself that your word means nothing. And when that happens, self-discipline collapses. You stop taking your own goals seriously. You lose respect for your own time. You lose the clarity that keeps your direction sharp. If you want to build a better life, you don't need more planning. You need more execution. And execution begins with movement, not a dramatic movement. Just a simple, deliberate action done now. There's a reason the people who build consistent momentum often seem unstoppable. It's not because they're more talented or more confident. It's because they stop negotiating with laziness. They don't talk about what they'll do. They just do it. They don't need the world to understand. They don't wait for someone to approve their pace. They decide that one step today is worth more than 50 ideas that never leave the page. That's how you take control of your life. You stop treating energy as something you wait for and start treating it as something you create through motion. You stop convincing yourself that your habits will magically change once your circumstances do. Because they won't. It's your actions that shape your circumstances, not the other way around. Think about the last time you postponed something you knew mattered. Maybe it was a workout, maybe it was a hard conversation, maybe it was waking up early to plan your day. What stopped you? Was it really time, or was it just the comfort of postponing discomfort? The gap between who you are and who you could be is often filled with lazy talk. But here's the thing, it only takes one honest moment to shift, one small action to start rebuilding momentum. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to stop lying to yourself about how ready you are. No one's coming to save you from your own delay. You have to decide, is this the day I start doing, or just keep thinking? The most powerful declaration isn't spoken, it's lived. It's the decision to show up today, not perfectly, but actively. It's brushing off the dust, breaking the inertia, and choosing to act even when the mood isn't right. Because that choice, repeated, changes everything. And the more you choose to act despite discomfort, the quieter that lazy voice becomes. It loses power every time you ignore it and move anyway. So if your life feels like it's paused, look closer. It's probably not paused. It's just parked in a space called someday. The only way to get out of that space is to stop talking about what you'll do and start doing what matters. Maybe that means finally getting serious about your morning routine. Maybe it means tackling one project you've avoided. Maybe it just means finishing the thing you promised yourself yesterday. Whatever it is, don't wait until everything aligns. Nothing big happens until something small moves first. Return to this when you catch yourself slipping into tomorrow talk. Let it remind you that progress isn't loud, it's quiet, committed, repetitive. Share this with someone who needs help getting unstuck. And then take the first step that reminds you, I'm not here to talk about change, I'm here to live it. 4. Choose long-term peace over short-term pleasure. The warmth of the blanket, the soft glow of the morning light, the seductive idea that 10 more minutes won't hurt. And yet, when you finally drag yourself out of bed, you're already behind, rushing, regretting, wondering why you feel off. That's the nature of short-term pleasure. It whispers comfort in the moment, but often delivers chaos afterward. It promises ease now and hands you stress later. If you want to get ahead in life, you have to see these moments for what they really are, not harmless indulgences, but small deals you make at the cost of your long-term clarity and calm. Choosing short-term pleasure is easy because it feels good now. It's the second helping of food you don't need, the night spent scrolling instead of sleeping, the impulse buy that empties your account and fills nothing lasting. It doesn't always look reckless. Sometimes it even feels like self-care. But real self-care is long-term peace. It's making decisions today that your future self thanks you for, not the ones that make you feel better for a moment and worse for a month. Short-term pleasure is addictive because it's fast. It's a hit of dopamine, a spike in mood, a tiny escape. And for people who feel overwhelmed, exhausted, or behind, escape is tempting. But escape is not relief. Escaping delays the problem. It puts peace further away. The life you want, the mental clarity you seek, the emotional strength you admire in others, it doesn't come from chasing ease. It comes from choosing discomfort that pays dividends. It comes from routines that protect your focus, decisions that protect your energy, and boundaries that protect your progress. That's what real peace is. Not the absence of effort, but the presence of discipline. It's not a life without stress. It's a life where your actions don't create more of it. And the only way to get there is to get uncomfortable with what feels good now and start getting honest about what builds what you really want. You don't need to hate pleasure. You need to understand it. Short-term pleasure isn't evil. It's just expensive. It costs you consistency. It breaks the flow of habits that actually change you. It interrupts your discipline and trains your brain to expect a reward without effort. And when that happens often enough, you stop trusting yourself to delay gratification. You become a slave to urges. And when your urges control you, your direction disappears. Peace is not passive. It's built through self-discipline habits that feel boring at first. Built through hard choices, like skipping what's fun to do what's necessary. It's getting ahead on your work instead of reacting to emergencies. It's going to bed early without fanfare. It's walking past comfort and choosing the quiet path that demands more but gives more. Think about the areas of your life where stress keeps repeating. Your finances, your health, your time. Most of those patterns didn't happen from one big mistake. They happened through thousands of small decisions. Decisions that traded calm later for comfort now. And if that's how they were built, that's also how they can be unbuilt. Reversed, shifted. Not through massive transformation overnight, but through quiet, consistent choices that say no to impulse and yes to inner alignment. Every time you resist a small temptation, you train your mind to value direction over distraction. And the more you do that, the more grounded you feel. Not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. Long-term peace is not flashy. It's not urgent. It doesn't scream for your attention. It waits, it builds. And when you finally choose it enough times, you realize it's what you were really after all along. While short-term pleasure gives you moments of escape, long-term peace gives you years of stability. While the world spins in chaos, you move with quiet strength. While others chase stimulation, you build clarity. That's the trade worth making, not just once, but daily. In the way you speak, spend, eat, rest, and decide. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. About looking at your habits and asking, does this serve me tomorrow or just satisfy me today? If your life feels scattered, ask yourself where you've been choosing quick over quiet. If your energy feels low, ask how often you've traded stillness for stimulation. You don't need to cut everything at once, but you need to start with something. Say no to one thing today that drains you tomorrow. Say yes to one habit today that protects your peace later. And then do it again, until your days are no longer filled with recovery from bad choices, but momentum from good ones. This is how you build a calm life, not through comfort, but through control, through clarity, through consistency. So come back to this when you feel tempted to chase ease over purpose. Share it with someone who feels stuck in the loop of just this once. And remind yourself that every time you choose peace over pleasure, you're saying yes to the version of you who's ready to move forward. For good. 5. Train your mind to stay calm under pressure. You're stuck in traffic during rush hour. A car cuts you off. Someone behind you is honking nonstop. Your phone lights up with messages you don't want to read. The air feels heavy, your chest tightens, and the day hasn't even fully begun. In that moment, are you in control, or are you reacting? Pressure doesn't come with a warning. It shows up in everyday chaos, in small disruptions that trigger large emotions. And if your mind isn't trained, you'll let those emotions run your life. You'll say things you regret, make poor decisions, and confuse urgency with importance. The truth is, pressure doesn't destroy you. Your reaction does. And the ability to stay calm in high-stress situations isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Through practice, through presence, through mental clarity. When things fall apart, most people panic. They raise their voice, they overthink, they jump to conclusions. But staying calm doesn't mean pretending nothing's wrong. It means choosing not to fall apart when it is. Calm is not passivity. It's controlled power. It's the moment when you take a breath instead of snapping, when you pause before replying to an angry email, when you keep your tone steady in a heated conversation. It's not easy. In fact, it's incredibly difficult, which is why so few practice it. But if you want to build mental strength that actually gets you ahead in life, emotional control is non-negotiable. The people who move the farthest are not the ones who know the most, but the ones who can think clearly when everything around them gets loud. Calm isn't something you switch on. It's something you condition into your nervous system. And it begins with awareness. You start noticing your triggers. The moments when your breathing shortens, your thoughts spiral, and your voice tightens. Then you create space. Space between what happens and how you respond. That space is your power. In that space, you remember you are not your reaction. You remember that long-term peace is more valuable than short-term satisfaction. That clarity is always louder than chaos when it's trained to be. Most people don't lack intelligence, they lack pause. They don't lack knowledge, they lack stillness. And without those two, pressure always wins. When your environment becomes unstable, your stability must come from within. You can't wait for people to act better or for the world to slow down. You have to become the calm in the storm. That's not poetic, it's strategic. In business, in leadership, in relationships, the person who can stay calm during conflict holds the advantage. They see more. They say less, but say it with weight. They don't get dragged into every argument. They don't need to win every reaction. And that's what real control looks like. Not dominance over others, but mastery over your own impulses. Training your mind to stay calm under pressure also means building resilience before pressure shows up. It means building discipline in small moments, when the coffee spills, when your schedule changes, when someone interrupts your flow. Those aren't annoyances, They're reps. They're training grounds for your composure. Just like a muscle, the more you flex your ability to stay grounded in small frustrations, the stronger you become in big ones. This is how you rewire your brain away from reactivity and toward response. You don't avoid life's punches. You just learn how to absorb them without losing your direction. There's a common lie people tell themselves: I'm just not good under pressure. But being calm is not a personality trait, it's a practice. It's built through simple acts: deep breaths before responding, stepping back instead of lashing out, refusing to speak when you know you're not thinking straight. It's removing urgency from situations that only feel urgent. It's choosing long-term respect over short-term release. And with repetition, it becomes your default. You start responding with thought instead of reacting with fear. You start slowing down mentally even when the world speeds up, and people notice. Not because you make noise, but because you don't. When you walk into a room with calm energy, you change the temperature. You become a stabilizer. Someone others turns to, not because you always have the answer, but because your presence doesn't add fuel to the fire. That's a rare trait in a world obsessed with reaction. But it's a powerful one, because when chaos hits, and it will, the person who remains centered is the one who moves forward. That's how you lead. That's how you protect your peace. That's how you train your mind to move with purpose, not panic. So the next time pressure builds, don't just survive it. Use it. Let it be a test. Let it be your moment to choose power over reaction. And when you do, even if it's just once, you'll feel it: a quiet shift, a deeper confidence, a stronger sense of control. Not because life got easier, but because you got better at staying composed when it didn't. Come back to this message when your day starts to spiral. Share it with someone who's tired of losing control. And remember, you don't have to eliminate the storm. You just have to stop letting it move you. 6. Keep promises you make to yourself. You probably remember a time you said, "I'm starting fresh on Monday," or "this time I'll really commit." And maybe for a day or two you did. But somewhere along the way, the momentum faded, the urgency dissolved, and you quietly stepped away from the thing you told yourself mattered. No one scolded you. No one noticed. But deep down you did. That quiet disappointment isn't just frustration, it's erosion. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, even the smallest one, you teach your mind that your word can't be trusted. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But if you don't start reversing that pattern, it becomes harder and harder to believe in your own potential. Confidence, after all, isn't about talent. It's about self-trust. And self-trust is built not through inspiration, but through follow-through. We often believe that discipline comes from external pressure, deadlines, competition, someone watching over us. But real discipline, the kind that changes your life, starts from the inside. It starts when you say, "I'll wake up early and do it," without applause, without an audience. It's when you tell yourself, "I'll finish this," and you don't leave until it's done. That inner agreement, repeated and honored, creates a track record. And that track record becomes identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who does the hard thing, someone who gets ahead not by being loud, but by being reliable, especially to themselves. The danger is when your promises become casual. When "I'll do it tomorrow" turns into a pattern of delay. When "I'll try again next week" is said more often than done. The mind is sharp. It listens. And if it hears you breaking your own word enough times, it will stop believing you. That's when motivation dies. That's when personal growth slows. Not because you don't care, but because your subconscious has no evidence that what you say will actually happen. To fix this, you don't need to overhaul everything. You just need one clean promise made and kept. Something small, specific, and non-negotiable. Maybe it's a daily workout. Maybe it's a 10-minute journaling session. Maybe it's a commitment to go to bed on time. Whatever it is, do it. Not for the habit, but for the principle underneath. Think of your mind like a smart child. If you keep saying, "We'll go to the park," but never do, the child stops believing you, stops listening, stops respecting your word. But if you say it and follow through, the child begins to trust, begins to believe. Your mind works the same way. It's not just about task management, it's about integrity. When you show yourself that your word matters, you raise your internal standard. You no longer need someone else to hold you accountable. You stop relying on motivation. You start depending on consistency. There's a quiet power in keeping your own promises. It doesn't look like much on the outside, but inside, it rewires everything. You walk differently. You make decisions with more clarity. You bounce back from failure faster because you know who you are. You've earned your own respect. And that self-respect, it's the foundation of discipline. It's the root of emotional control. It's what helps you stay consistent when results aren't showing up yet. Because deep down, you know, this is who I am now. Not because I feel like it, but because I've proven it day after day. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to keep every promise ever made. But you do need to start treating your words to yourself like a contract. If you say it, mean it. If you commit, follow through. And if you fall off, don't excuse it. Address it. Say it out loud. I didn't do what I said I would. That's not who I want to be. Let me start again. That kind of honesty rebuilds trust faster than pretending everything's fine. You can't fake consistency. You either show up or you don't. And every day you do, your self-trust grows stronger. This is what separates those who drift through life from those who lead it. Not motivation, not circumstance, but integrity. Quiet, consistent follow-through. The discipline to become someone your future self can depend on. So the next time you say, I'm gonna do this, treat it like the truth. Let your actions make your words real. Come back to this if you forget. Share it with someone whose confidence is fading because their discipline has slipped. And remember, self-discipline doesn't begin with external pressure. It begins with a promise, one you make to yourself and refuse to break. 7. Do the boring things until they build your future. Everyone wants success, but no one wants boredom. We're drawn to what's exciting, new routines, loud promises, quick fixes. We want instant results, visible growth, applause for our progress. But what most successful people do more than anything else is repetitive, unglamorous, and often invisible. They wake up early when no one's watching. They write when they don't feel creative. They exercise when they'd rather stay home. They track spending, read the same books again, and say no to distractions that promise dopamine but deliver nothing. From the outside, it looks dull. But over time, those boring actions compound into something remarkable. Not because the action was big, but because the action was repeated, over and over, without needing attention, motivation, or permission. There's a cultural myth that success looks like a breakthrough, a viral moment, a big win, a sudden shift. But the truth is quieter. Success is a slow drip, a quiet grind, like water wearing down rock, not with power, but with consistency. It doesn't feel magical, it feels mundane. But one day you wake up and realize you've changed. Not because you suddenly transformed, but because you didn't quit. While others chased stimulation, you stayed. While they reinvented themselves weekly, you just kept showing up. And that's why your results look different, because they were built differently. Doing the boring work isn't about being robotic. It's about being reliable to yourself. It's about choosing habits that compound over time, not feelings that fade. It's brushing your teeth, not because it's exciting, but because it protects your health. It's budgeting every week, not because it feels urgent, but because it builds long-term peace. It's reading when no one's asking, planning when no one's watching, and choosing effort when no one's validating. These are the things that change your identity, not quickly, but deeply. They give you something short-term pleasure can't: stability. The mind resists boredom because it craves novelty, but novelty fades. What lasts is structure, and structure only becomes part of who you are when it's reinforced through repetition. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence or drive, but because they can't tolerate doing the same thing for long enough to see the result. They jump from one system to the next, from one high to the next, always searching for the next best thing, when the real best thing is usually the one they already started, but didn't finish. Success isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. It asks you to do what's simple but not stimulating. It asks you to value progress over performance, follow through over flair. That's what makes the difference. Not talent, not talk, but the person who shows up to do the work again today, even if it's the same work they did yesterday, even if no one notices, even if it doesn't feel exciting anymore. Because those are the people who don't just get ahead, they stay ahead. They build mental strength, self-trust, and emotional clarity, not through massive events, but through silent endurance. If you want to take control of your life, stop asking what feels good today. Start asking what builds the future you want tomorrow. If you want long-term peace over short-term pleasure, train yourself to do what's necessary, especially when it's boring. That's the real test. Not how loud you can start, but how quietly you can continue. Every great result you admire came from someone who outlasted boredom, who didn't need to be entertained to keep going, who wasn't distracted by the noise of temporary results or shiny new routines. They committed to the one that worked, and worked it until it paid off. Think of a drop of water falling on a stone. One drop is meaningless, 10 drops are invisible, but 1,000, 10,000, a million? It carves the surface, it changes something hard into something new. You're the same. Your results might not show up today, your habits might feel repetitive, but they're shaping you, they're carving you. And one day, others will call you disciplined, gifted, maybe even lucky. But you'll know the truth. You just kept doing the boring things others were too impatient to repeat. So come back to this when you're tempted to switch paths, when your routine feels stale, when boredom whispers that you're stuck. You're not stuck, you're building. And no one builds something strong without repetition. Share this with someone who needs to hear that discipline isn't about hype, it's about quiet endurance. And remember, you don't need to be better than anyone else. You just need to stay with the habits they quit too soon. That's how you win. That's how you rise. And that's how you make sure your future isn't left to luck. It's built, one boring brick at a time. Getting ahead in life isn't about luck. It's about decisions. The small ones you repeat each day, the hard ones you choose when no one's watching, and the quiet ones that build self-discipline when comfort calls louder. You don't need more motivation, you need more movement. From stopping the blame game, to training your mind for emotional control, to staying consistent with what works even when it's boring, this isn't just advice, it's a full reset. Every choice becomes a seed, every seed a pattern, and every pattern builds your identity. So take a moment to reflect. Which lesson today hit you hardest? Which habit have you been avoiding because it felt too simple, too silent, or too slow? Drop it in the comments below. Your story might be the breakthrough someone else needs. If this video helped rewire your mindset, pass it on. Share it with someone who's ready to stop reacting and start reclaiming their power. And if you're serious about building emotional clarity, mental strength, and a consistent life of discipline, subscribe now. Come back to this video often. Let it train your thoughts, then go act on it. Quietly, daily, relentlessly. That's how you build a life that no one can take from you.